It started with a whisper, a quiet rumble beneath Canada's political surface. But now, the entire country is listening. Alberta is making moves. For years, Alberta has felt ignored, sidelined, and dismissed by Ottawa. The rising frustration in the West has grown louder, more organized, more dangerous, and now, it's reached the highest levels of international politics. According to multiple sources close to diplomatic circles, secret discussions have allegedly taken place between Alberta officials and members of Donald Trump's inner circle. The topic: a possible exit from Canada, and a stunning offer from the United States. Yes, you heard that right. Under President Donald Trump's second term, America has taken a bold stance toward energy independence, economic expansion, and realigning its alliances, not just globally, but regionally. And Alberta, with its vast oil reserves, powerful industry, and growing calls for autonomy, is suddenly in the spotlight. This isn't just speculation. Documents reportedly leaked from U.S. congressional briefings hint at conversations involving American advisors and Alberta-based intermediaries. While official confirmation is impossible, and both governments have denied involvement, the pattern is too clear to ignore. Prime Minister Mark Carney, newly installed and already under pressure, has avoided direct questions on the matter. During a press conference last week in Ottawa, when asked about the rising secessionist sentiment in Alberta, Carney simply said, "Canada is stronger together." But on the ground in Alberta, that unity is breaking. A recent poll conducted by Western Insights Canada shows that over 48% of Albertans would support a referendum on separation, if given a fair and legal process. That number jumps to 57% among respondents aged 35 to 54, working-class Albertans who feel the pinch of federal policies that restrict their industries while sending billions eastward in equalization payments. What makes this moment different? The involvement of the United States. Sources close to the Alberta legislature claim that Premier Danielle Smith has quietly approved an internal study to assess what a post-Canada Alberta could look like, including trade agreements, border frameworks, and, more controversially, statehood. Under Trump, the U.S. has repeatedly expressed support for energy-rich regions that align with his America First agenda. Alberta fits that mold. It produces over 80% of Canada's crude oil, and has the third-largest proven oil reserves in the world, after Venezuela and Saudi Arabia. Strategically, Alberta is a gold mine. And that hasn't gone unnoticed in Washington. Analysts point to a now public transcript from a closed-door energy summit in Houston, where Trump remarked, "The Canadians are sitting on oil they don't know how to use. Alberta's ready. They'd do business with us tomorrow." While dismissed by mainstream media at the time, the remark now feels chillingly relevant. Meanwhile, Saskatchewan Premier Scott Moe has made headlines of his own, stating, "The federal government has forgotten the prairies. We are watching closely what Alberta is doing." With regional leaders expressing solidarity, and Carney's administration scrambling to contain the narrative, the pressure is on. Some experts are calling this the most serious threat to Canadian unity since the Quebec referendums, but even then, the idea of another country making a play for a Canadian province would have sounded unthinkable. Not anymore. The Trump administration has remained tight-lipped, but certain conservative media outlets in the U.S. are now openly speculating about a 51st state in the North. On Capitol Hill, at least 2 U.S. senators have reportedly expressed interest in a special economic agreement with Alberta, a subtle way of saying, the door is open. Meanwhile, in Alberta, the movement is growing bolder. The Alberta Sovereignty Within a United Canada Act, passed in 2023, was just the beginning. It gave the province more control over federal policy enforcement. But what comes next could go far beyond policy, into the realm of full political detachment. Pro-independence groups, like Project Confederation and the Alberta First Movement, have seen record online engagement in recent months. Fundraising is up. Town halls are full. And slogans like, "Let Alberta Decide," are showing up on signs, bumper stickers, and even billboards. The Alberta government has not confirmed any discussions with U.S. officials, but the silence itself is deafening. Ottawa, meanwhile, appears paralyzed. Despite growing calls from opposition parties for transparency and national unity measures, Prime Minister Carney's office has stuck to vague reassurances. The PM himself has said nothing publicly about Trump's alleged involvement, even as his ministers quietly admit that no scenario is off the table anymore. But it's not just politicians and media figures paying attention. Behind closed doors, major U.S. energy and tech corporations are reportedly watching Alberta with growing interest. According to sources inside the Calgary investment sector, at least 3 large American firms have discreetly reached out to explore post-Confederation energy partnerships. While none have confirmed these discussions publicly, it signals something deeper. Alberta is no longer just Canada's problem, it's becoming a North American opportunity. Wall Street analysts are now referring to Alberta as Canada's Texas, noting the parallels in oil production, political independence, and the appetite for deregulation. If Alberta edges even one step closer to a U.S.-style governance model or special economic status, the influx of capital could be massive and irreversible. For Ottawa, this isn't just about national unity anymore. It's about losing control over a region that fuels the country's economy and watching foreign powers step in. If Alberta were to hold a referendum, and if the majority voted to separate, Canada would enter a legal and political crisis not seen in over a century. The Canadian Constitution does not have a clear mechanism for a province to join another country. But Alberta's defenders argue that international law, particularly under the principle of self-determination, could give them leverage. And Trump, never one to shy away from chaos, might just be willing to test it. Critics warn this could unravel Confederation entirely. If Alberta succeeds, Saskatchewan may follow. British Columbia could realign. The entire western half of Canada could break from Ottawa, economically, culturally, and perhaps even politically. And in that void, the United States, with open arms and eager contracts. We are not saying Alberta is becoming a U.S. state tomorrow. But what we are saying, and what we now know, is that something unprecedented is happening. Behind the scenes, at the highest levels of power, Alberta's future is being discussed in ways we've never seen before. Whether that future includes Canada, remains the biggest question of all.